In the 1980s, a disease arrived with no name, no cure, and almost no public acknowledgment from the government. It moved through communities quietly. It took people in their prime, artists, performers, creators, before anyone in power was willing to say the word out loud. The Black R&B community lost some of its most extraordinary voices to AIDS. Some of them died before the world knew what was happening. Some died in silence, their families unable to speak the truth. Some died alone, abandoned even by the people who loved them, and some, in their final hours, chose to speak openly so that others might survive. These are 9 of those stories, told with the facts, told with respect, and told because these names deserve to be remembered. Number 9, Sylvester. Sylvester James was born in Los Angeles and raised in a Pentecostal church where his voice was considered a gift from God. The church eventually rejected him for his homosexuality. He rejected their rejection and moved to San Francisco in the late 1960s to build a life on his own terms. By 1978, he was an international star. You Make Me Feel Mighty Real topped the dance charts in both the U.S. and Europe. It was inducted into the Library of Congress in 2019 as a recording deemed culturally, historically, and aesthetically significant. On March 11, 1979, while recording a live album at the San Francisco War Memorial Opera House, then Mayor Dianne Feinstein came backstage, shook his hand, and gave him the key to the city. She declared it Sylvester Day. Then the 1980s came. In 1982, before most Americans had heard the word AIDS, Sylvester organized one of the very first AIDS fundraisers in history at Los Angeles' Studio One nightclub. He watched friends disappear. He watched his community collapse. In 1987, his boyfriend, Rick Cranmer, died of AIDS. Sylvester was devastated. He told friends there was no point in being tested. He already knew. He kept performing. He kept speaking out. He kept naming what was happening to his community when the world refused to look. By June 1988, he was so ill he could barely walk. But he attended the Castro's Gay Freedom Parade anyway, in a wheelchair, in public, refusing to hide. The 1988 Castro Street Fair was named a tribute to Sylvester. He was too ill to attend, but the crowd chanted his name so loudly he could hear them from his bedroom. A few months before he died, he appeared at the Dreamland nightclub from the second-floor balcony, watching the dancers below. When he waved goodbye, the entire dance floor erupted in stomping and shouting, "We love you." He died on December 16, 1988, in his bed in San Francisco. He was 41 years old. He had planned his own funeral. He wanted to be dressed in a red kimono. He wanted his friend to do his makeup. He wanted flowers. He wanted choirs. He wanted the whole church to feel something. He left all future royalties from his music to San Francisco HIV/AIDS charities. His obituary in the New York Times was 4 sentences long. Number 8, Bobby DeBarge. Berry Gordy once called Bobby DeBarge the most talented artist I have ever signed. That is not a small statement. Bobby was the lead singer of Switch, a Motown group whose falsetto sound became the blueprint for the entire DeBarge family dynasty that followed. He could sing, he could write, he could produce, he could play piano. But he had been introduced to heroin at 15 years old by a home environment that was abusive and painful. He wrestled with addiction for the rest of his life. In 1988, he was arrested for drug trafficking and sentenced to 5 years in federal prison. Before he went in, he pulled his family aside and told them he had HIV. He came out in 1993 and tried to come back. For me, you and me. He recorded a final album called It's Not Over. Switch co-founder Gregory Williams told Vibe magazine, Bobby knew his life was basically over. He died on August 16, 1995. He was 39 years old. His final album was released 2 weeks after he died.
Listen, 90% of you watching right now aren't subscribed yet. If these stories are blowing your mind, imagine what you're missing. Hit subscribe, turn on that bell, and join the 200,000 R&B fans who never miss a Groove Lens upload.
Number 7, Kenny Greene. Intro. In 1993, Kenny Greene was one of the most quietly powerful figures in R&B.
What time it is? Listen. Let me be.
He was the lead vocalist, primary songwriter, and producer of the Brooklyn Trio intro. And alongside his work with the group, he had already written 2 of Mary J. Blige's most beloved early songs, Reminisce and Love No Limit, from her debut album. For those 2 songs alone, Greene was tied with Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis for the ASCAP R&B Songwriter of the Year award in 1994. He was 25 years old. Intro's debut album in 1993 produced Let Me Be the One, Come Inside, and a devastating cover of Stevie Wonder's Ribbon in the Sky that many listeners consider superior to the original. He had everything in front of him. Then the music industry moved on. The group's second album didn't replicate the first. And Kenny Greene quietly was fighting something that nobody in his circle was allowed to talk about. He had known for years that he had HIV. He had kept it private.
Sacrifice 1 minute to hear what I have to say.
In the summer of 2001, with his body failing, he agreed to do a final interview with Sister to Sister magazine.
And the love I have for you won't disappear.
He spoke from his hospital bed. The interviewer asked him how he got AIDS. He said, "Yeah, I'm bisexual." He said he contracted it from a male partner. He said the partner was still alive. He said, "Keep protecting yourself with condoms. Don't have unprotected sex." That was his last public message, a warning, a confession, a gift to strangers he would never meet.
Baby, all I wanna do is love you.
His immediate family did not attend his funeral. His mother, sister, and brother stayed away. They could not accept what he had revealed.
Made a change.
His bandmate Buddy Wyke attended to Kenny's needs when his family declined to come. Kenny Greene died on October 1st, 2001 in New York City. He was 32 years old. He was buried with full military honors at Calverton National Cemetery on Long Island, a veteran of 3 years of Army service that most of his fans never knew about. His last recording was a backup vocal line on a Tyrese song called "For Always." Number 6, Melvin Lindsey. Melvin Lindsey didn't sing the songs. He gave them a home.
Quiet as when flowers talk.
In 1976, as a 21-year-old intern at Howard University's radio station WHUR-FM in Washington, D.C., he introduced a late-night format he called the Quiet Storm, named after Smokey Robinson's 1974 album track. Slow jams, soft lights, R&B at midnight. That format spread to radio stations across America and gave an entire genre its identity. Luther Vandross, Anita Baker, Barry White, the whole smooth R&B movement of the late 70s and 80s found its natural home in the format Melvin Lindsey built from scratch as an unpaid intern. He hosted the show for 9 years at WHUR, then took it to WKIS-FM, then television on BET. He was the architect of a sound that defined a generation. He was also, quietly, dying. Melvin Lindsey died of AIDS in 1992. He was 36 years old. There was no press conference, no dramatic announcement, no public farewell. The man who created one of the most influential formats in the history of black radio died without the world pausing to acknowledge what he had built. The Quiet Storm format he originated is still on radio stations across America today, more than 30 years after his death. Every late-night slow jam you've ever heard on an R&B station traces back to a 21-year-old intern in Washington, D.C., who gave it a name. Number 5, Gil Scott-Heron.
600 miles. Truth was, it went a whole lot deeper than that.
Gil Scott-Heron is the poet, musician, and spoken word artist whose 1971 track, The Revolution Will Not Be Televised, became one of the most important recordings in the history of black protest music.
You will not be able to stay home, brother.
He is widely considered one of the founding architects of hip-hop, influencing everyone from Grandmaster Flash to Kanye West to Kendrick Lamar, who sampled his work on To Pimp a Butterfly.
It will not be televised. The revolution.
He was brilliant. He was also, for most of his adult life, struggling. Scott-Heron battled crack cocaine addiction for decades. It cost him years of productivity.
The revolution will not be televised. The revolution will not be brought to you.
Multiple prison sentences, and the respect of an industry that increasingly didn't know what to do with him. In 2010, he released I'm New Here,
With a brand new process. There will be no slow motion or still life of Roy Wolf.
a raw, late career record on XL Recordings that critics hailed as a masterpiece. The New York Times called it devastating and essential.
Not be able to predict the winner at 8:32 on report from 29 districts. The revolution.
He was 61 years old. He was in the middle of what looked like a genuine final act. Then on May 27, 2011, he flew back to New York from a trip to Europe.
Get rid of the nub. The revolution will not make you look 5 pounds thinner because.
He complained of feeling unwell at the airport. He was taken to Mount Sinai Hospital. He died 2 days later. He was 62 years old.
Searching will no longer be so damn relevant, and women will not care if Dick finally.
The official cause of death was listed as complications from AIDS by his longtime friend and manager, who confirmed it publicly after his passing.
Will not be televised. Will not be televised. Will not be televised. Will not be.
The disease had been present for years. Scott-Heron never spoke about it publicly. The intravenous drug use that defined his addiction years is believed to have been the pathway to infection.
White tornado, white lightning, or white people. You will not have to worry about a dumb.
He was buried quietly, a private man who had given his most raw and public self to the world for 40 years and kept this last thing entirely to himself.
Using no pictures of Harry R. women liberationists and Jackie Onassis blowing her nose.
Rolling Stone named The Revolution Will Not Be Televised one of the greatest songs ever written. Number 4, Jermaine Stewart. The summer of 1986. A song came on the radio that felt completely different from everything else on the pop charts that year.
That's your game, girl, I'm not a piece of meat.
We Don't Have to Take Our Clothes Off, written and performed by Jermaine Stewart, reached number 5 on the Billboard Hot 100.
Let's hit the floor, shake your body to the music.
It was a message song dressed as a dance record. In the middle of the AIDS crisis, when safe sex education was desperately needed and largely being ignored by mainstream pop music,
Baby, then you score. So come on, baby.
Jermaine Stewart released a song that said, "You can have fun, you can be romantic without risking your life." The song went number 2 in the UK. It was a genuine global hit. Jermaine Stewart had danced his way into the industry through years of backup work, dancing behind Shalimar and Culture Club before launching his solo career. He was a gifted performer with an instinct for melody, and a message worth hearing. His follow-up singles failed to match the heights of that one record. The industry moved on from him quickly.
I got needs just like you.
He spent the late 1980s and early 1990s in relative obscurity, performing where he could, recording when he got the chance.
Have a good time. Oh no, we could.
He died on March the 17th, 1997, from AIDS-related liver cancer. He was 38 years old. His death was quiet. There were no press conferences, no dramatic announcements. Just a man who had once told a generation that you didn't have to risk everything to feel good. Dying of the very disease his biggest song had warned them about. Number 3, Wayne Cooper, Cameo. When Word Up hit in the summer of 1986, it felt like it had arrived from somewhere else entirely. That robotic rhythm track, that swaggering horn riff, that spoken word bass break. Word Up reached number 6 on the Billboard Hot 100 and number 1 on the R&B chart. It became one of the defining songs of the decade. Wayne Cooper was the lead singer of Cameo, the New York-based funk band that had been grinding since the mid-1970s under the name New York City Players, before changing its name and its sound. Cooper had helped build the group from its earliest days. He was the voice, the front man, the energy in the room. He died in 1984, 2 years before Word Up came out from AIDS-related complications. He was 33 years old. When you hear the call, you got to get it under. What makes his story particularly haunting is how long it took the truth to emerge. For years after his death, it was reported that Wayne Cooper had died in a plane crash. The real cause of death, AIDS, was kept quiet. His family, his bandmates, and the label made a collective decision to protect his name from the stigma that came with an AIDS diagnosis in 1984. The plane crash story traveled for years. By the time the truth was confirmed publicly, most of the people who had loved Word Up had no idea the man who helped build the band had died more than 2 years before the song came out. Come on, baby, tell me what's the word up. He never heard it. He never knew it would become one of the most recognizable records of the 1980s. Romance, no romance for me. Number 2, Sharon Red. Sharon Red was one of the great voices of the disco era and one of the most overlooked. She grew up as the daughter of entertainer Alton Red in New York City and spent years as one of Bette Midler's iconic harlots, Midler's backup vocal group, before carving out a solo career in the early 1980s. Her 1982 single, Never Give You Up, was a dance floor anthem. She followed it with Can You Handle It and Love Insurance. She sang backup for Luther Vandross and Jocelyn Brown. She was part of the fabric of the New York music scene in ways that most audiences never fully understood. She was also, in the words of one tribute written after her death, a black woman whose AIDS story was never taken up as an opportunity to bring awareness to the vulnerability of other black women. Because she was a disco diva. That sentence is important. When Rock Hudson died of AIDS in 1985, the country was forced to reckon with the disease. When Magic Johnson announced his HIV status in 1991, an entire generation reconsidered what they thought they knew. When Sharon Redd died of AIDS-related complications in 1992, it was barely covered. She was 47 years old. She has been commemorated by the National AIDS Memorial via an online exhibition in 2023, 31 years after her death. Because black women who contracted AIDS were not given the same public mourning as the men who died beside them. That is part of this story too. Number 1. Keith Barrow. Keith Barrow was the son of a Pentecostal bishop. He grew up singing in the church in Chicago, the kind of upbringing that produces voices with both technical precision and something harder to name, something earned. In 1978, he released You Know You Want to Be Loved on Columbia Records. It reached number 20 on the R&B chart. It was a warm, soulful, elegant record, the kind of debut that announces a career, not just a single. He was 22 years old. His follow-up albums didn't break through commercially, but within the gospel and R&B worlds, Keith Barrow was regarded as one of the most gifted singers of his generation, a man whose voice carried the weight of the church and the emotion of the street in perfect balance. By the early 1980s, as the AIDS crisis began silently moving through communities across America, Keith Barrow's health was in decline. He never spoke publicly about what was happening to him. He was the son of a bishop. He lived in a world where there were no words for what he was facing and no framework for speaking them. He died on October 22, 1983. He was 27 years old. He was one of the earliest known R&B artists to die of AIDS-related illness. Before most of America had even heard the disease named on the news, his father, Bishop Willie Barrow, was one of the most prominent civil rights leaders in Chicago, a close ally of Jesse Jackson and a leader of Operation Push.
So many rainbows.
Keith Barrow's death was handled quietly. The family did not speak publicly about the cause. It would be years before his name appeared in any documented account of the AIDS epidemic's early toll on black artists. But he was there. He was among the first, and his voice, preserved on a record cut when he was 22, is still available to anyone who cares to listen.